Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Intersim Esports Network once again, 2 nights in a row, if you don't mind. Wednesday night, we are back. We are broadcasting the Skypoynt TCR League, usually known as the MSR TCR League, now rebranded to the Skypoynt TCR League. We're here at Barber Motorsports Park tonight for round number 3. My name's Aidan Schultz in the broadcast booth. As always, joining me is Paul Jackson. Good evening to you, Paul.
Good evening, Aidan, and everyone tuning in. Good to be back for another week of the Skypoynt TCR League. So we actually had a bit of a brand name change there, Aidan, from last week. So good to see a new sponsor come on board.
Yeah, really good to see a new sponsor come on board for the TCR League, now rebranded as the Skypoynt TCR League. Just another thing to keep us on the toes, up on our toes here in the broadcast booth. But ladies and gentlemen, we are into the 20-minute qualifying session. We're about 5 minutes in as we go live here tonight. You can see the man of the moment, Jake Maloney, who's taken all the points for the previous first 2 rounds here, currently setting the benchmark time at the top of the timesheets with a 129.52. Mark Howard there, he's just been pipped actually by Graham Phelan with a 130.91. So already, albeit early doors in the qualifying session, Paul, we're seeing Jake Maloney with sensational lap time, sensational pace, absolutely blitzing the field early on in this one. We're 7 minutes into the 20-minute qualifying session. So got another 13 minutes around Barber Motorsports Park to see whether someone does have anything for Jake Maloney. Will it be Damon Mulqueen, who we're on board with at the moment as well? So Damon sporting a little bit of a different livery coming into round number 3 tonight. Usually sports the Synergy Sim Racing JK Signs backed entry. And sorry, no, we're on Matthew Brunt now, sorry. So I was on the wrong driver. And now we're swapping to another driver again. So Paul already keeping me on my toes here early on in the broadcast. So Paul, I know you're listening and obviously you commentate with me. Can you stop changing the cameras on me?
All right, we'll just we'll watch Peter Pavlovich all night. Done.
Let's do that. But go with my voice, mate. Go with my voice. No, in all seriousness, I know you love it. You get a good kick out of it. But Peter Pavlovich there in 11th position with the 2:16. He's currently set a lap time of 131.52, absolutely identical to David Leslie, who's in 10th position at the moment with a 131.52 as well. But ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in here on the Intersim Esports Network for what is round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League from Barber Motorsports Park, be sure to jump into the chat across Facebook or YouTube. Let us know you're tuning in. Let us know who your favourite driver is and who you think's going to take out round number 3 tonight. So we will have 2 races for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 1 will be the sprint race. There will be a pit stop, I'd suggest, 25% fuel in the cars tonight. So there's a bit of track information there for you on the screen. So they're running the full course here at Barber Motorsports Park. Of course, we are in the United States of America at Leeds. Track length is 3.66 kilometres in length. Temperature is 23 degrees Celsius in the sim world at an altitude of 100, I can't read that, so we're at altitude, 189 metres there with the altitude, of course. Myself, Aidan Schultz and Paul Jackson in the broadcast booth, bringing you all the action. We've got partly cloudy, 23% chance of rain. I don't know how that's going to happen because iRacing does not have rain yet. 19 degrees Celsius, and there's a 3 km/h wind. So it's going to be an interesting night of racing. It still is Jake Maloney at the top of the timesheets at the moment with a 129.52, almost a whole second over the rest of the field, Paul. But as I said, we are going to go 2 races tonight. So race number 1, I believe, is 11 laps. I think you said 12 laps, 25% fuel drop tonight. So they're not going to get 12 laps out of the TCR in race number 1. So expect to have a pit stop in race number 1. Then we're going to invert the grid on how they finish in race number 1 into race number 2, which will be a 29-lap feature race. So there'll be a couple of stops required by all drivers there. But Peter Kelleher there with a little bit of an incident in his qualifying session. He's down in the 17th position, 1:35.06. So Peter Kelleher's got 10 minutes to try and rectify that and see whether he can put the 0.23 in a better starting position for this one. Nathan Cook we're on board with now in the 43. He's currently sitting in the 15th position. Is he going to be able to better his time around Barber Motorsports Park and see whether he can put the 43 up inside the top 10 here for round number 3, race number 1 tonight, Paul? But 10.5 minutes into the qualifying session, Jake Maloney with an absolute blinding time at the top of the timesheets at the moment, nearly a full second ahead of Damon Mulqueen there from Synergy Sim Racing in the 42 entry in second.
Yeah, definitely. We know Jake's pretty quick around here, and with saying that, coming into round 3, Aiden, Jake Maloney's currently sitting in first place after rounds 1 and 2 with a 118 point total there, with David Mulqueen following in second with 87 points and Matthew Brunton third with 81. That's for the Pro Division, so the top 3 drivers there for the Pro Division. For the AM Division, I've got Brandon Grotch, who's currently sitting in P1 for the AM on 88 points. And then you've got Andy Barber, your Southern Stars teammate there, Aiden, is actually in second with 84 points, only 4 points behind there. And Robbie Bradbury in third with 70.
Yeah, good to see Andy Barber up there. I expect Darren McKenzie to jump his way up tonight as well. Darren McKenzie just tuning into the chat. No pit stop for race number 1. Race number 2 will be a 1-stopper. So there we go with the 25% fuel drop. So thank you, Darren, for tuning in and letting us know that one. I obviously definitely underestimated that. So, yeah, there'll be no stop for race number 1 for the 12 laps. So it's going to be a 12-lap ding-dong battle for the race win for race number 1, but then race number 2 will have that one compulsory pit stop. So we've seen that in the first couple of rounds, Paul, where people decided to use their pit strategy definitely did play a big part in the outcome of the motor race. So Jake Maloney at the moment, as we're on board with Mark Howard, currently in the 8th position in the 222 entry. Jake Maloney, as we saw, it was a lot to do with strategy in the first couple of rounds, which got him those wins. But at the same time, he had race pace and amazing pace on board with that 29. So at the moment, with what we're seeing, we're probably expecting another 2-race lockout by Jake Maloney. But we do know that these TCR cars, it is anybody's race with the way that these cars drive.
Yeah, definitely. And new team paints out there tonight as well. Blue Collar Autosport for Troy Mortensen and Jai Schultz there. And I actually just picked up something on the back of Troy's car, if I can try and get a closer look at this. And got Schultz's Automotive and Recovery there. So maybe that's a sponsor there for when all the Schultzes crash.
Well, it's a Schultzy thing. I can tell you it is definitely a Schultzy thing, although I am the better Schultz this week, and I'm not in this race, so he can't take the title off me tonight there. But Troy Mortensen in the 17th position. Good to see Troy back out here tonight and having a run in the 23. Different livery for those guys. Dragon RC back there, David Leslie in the 666. He rounds out your 10 at the moment here provisionally in the qualifying session. So we'll see whether David Leslie can go quicker and try and make his way up the grid here before we go green for the first 12-lap sprint race. But Barber Motorsports Park, a very tricky track. Jake Maloney is now showing purple sectors all the way through his lap. So can he extend his nearly second or 0.8 of a second lead at the front and absolutely wipe the field here in qualifying and extend that gap out to over a second? We'll see whether he can do that when he makes his way across the line next time around. Jake Maloney, I tell you what, Paul, absolute freak. No, 129.67 last time around, about a 10.5 second down on his previous best in this 20-minute qualifying session. So just didn't quite get the job done through the final sector there, but Jake Maloney showing a lot of pace in this one, Paul. So Is anyone going to have anything for Jake Maloney? I'm interested to see, actually, second place at the moment, Damon Mulqueen. He is quite a fair bit off the pace of Jake Maloney, and that's not like Damon Mulqueen. And also, I'm having a look there, 0.5 at Andy Barber, Southern Stars Esports Racing, up into the third position, if you don't mind, with a 1:30.90. So Andy Barber getting his head around these TCR cars. He's looking good to start out of the top two row starting position here for race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League here from Barber Motorsports Basketball.
Yeah, definitely, and he's looking to maybe try and take away that P1 in the AM Championship after tonight. So hopefully Andy can have a good solid run here and bank a few extra points and move up into P1 for the AM Championship. But got a new driver to the series tonight, Sammy Kay, back in the driver's seat once again. So welcome Sam Katakouzanos to the TCR League.
Yeah, welcome Sam Katakouzanos, one of the gentlemen of iRacing, a great driver in that regard as well. Had a good battle with him in the IndyCars on Monday night. He got the win. I got third place in that one. Great drive from Sam in the IndyCar race we did the other night. He'll be looking to back that up tonight. So don't be surprised. Sam hasn't cut a lap in anger yet. We're only 3.5 minutes left in qualifying. Don't be surprised if we see the 968 Bushfink Racing entry of Sam Katakouzanos. And I'm glad it's only taken me a year and a half, Paul, or a year, and I finally can roll his name off my tongue without getting it wrong, mate. So it's only taken me a year of broadcasting, but Sam Katakouzanos, I don't even have to think now. I can even message him and type his name right. So how good is that?
Well, there's a long way to go with the broadcast yet tonight, so
I'm sure we'll throw you under the bus at some time, yeah, mate. Yeah, that's the saying. We should be into Sim Esports Network, throwaidenunderthebus.com.au, but that's all right. But it still is Jake Maloney. He's just gone and bettered his time, Paul. Done a 1:29.4. Where's that put Sam K? First lap in anger, up into 5th position, 1:30.7. So Team Bushfink Racing of Sam Katakouzanos up into the 5th position, did next to none laps and just comes out and puts it up into the 5th position for qualifying here, provisionally ready for race number 1 tonight. So it still is Jake Maloney and Damon Mulqueen, you're 1 and 2, but I tell you what, your 3, 4, 5 and 6 has changed. Matthew Brunt's now jumped into 3rd with the 1:30.62. Brendan Grotch there, 1:30.67. Sammy Kay, Sam Katakouzanos that we just mentioned, a 1:30.73. Andy Barber now has just been dropped down the timesheets here provisionally, and he is on the outside of the 3rd row at the moment in 6th spot with a 1:30.90 as we have 2 minutes left in this 20-minute qualifying session and about to go dirty. We say dirty for 30 in the Speedway world, but we'll go dirty for 12 for the race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League. So I'm full of useless sayings here on the Sim Esports Network, Paul, and you just witnessed another one there. I have no filter. I just don't know where to stop. I just make up stuff as I go.
I think you're a night early because obviously the Skypoint Dirt Series is on tomorrow night, Aiden. So they'll be definitely going dirty tomorrow night.
They will, and that'll all be brought to you live on the LR Esports Network. And I've got a little bit of revenge to come out tomorrow night for the Skypoint Dirt Oval Series. I was leading that one last Thursday and wasn't happy with how that ended up. So I've got a bit of unfinished business as we head to round number 2 tomorrow night. But as long as our Southern Stars Esports Racing teammates are up there or thereabouts, I'm sure we'll have to fight hard. But let's get this one over and done with first. It is round number 3, race number 1 of the Skypoint again TCR League here on the Sim Esports Network. There's the man from Skypoint himself, Tommy Pritchard, making his way through the back end of the track. So will he be able to get this lap in? I'm not sure. He's currently sitting down in the 13th position in qualifying. Not where he'll want to be. He's going to be in the thick of it in what is a little bit of a depleted field here for round number 3. We've got 19 drivers in. We say it's a depleted field. For it to be depleted and have 19 drivers or 20 drivers in, it's pretty good for the league and the health of this league to have 20 drivers in and us still be saying that it is a little bit of a depleted field. So obviously other things have come back up, other leagues have started, a lot of drivers gone and crossed and done other things for tonight. But let's go through your starting position for what will be race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League here from Barber Motorsports Park, as for some reason the screen has gone completely black on us, and we love when technology absolutely loves us, sometimes not. So we'll wait until I can see the screen, because I cannot see a thing. Well, just bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We've gone black screen for some reason. All the live timing is gone as well, so that looks like something is playing up. So just bear with us. We're about to go green. We can see now that the live timing's coming back up for us, and there we go. Hey, so SDK's decided to do its thing. So I'll just quickly run you through the grid. It's going to be Jake Maloney, Damon Mulqueen, Matthew Brunt, Brendan Grotch, Katakuzanos, Barber, Phelan, Haslant, Howard, Mackenzie, Leslie, Pavlovich, Pritchard, Schultz, Cook, De Vries, Kelleher, Ariel, Mortensen, and Brand will start in the 20th position tonight. Sebastian Vandel will be driving the safety car tonight. And of course, we've got young Ryan Barber in the race control tonight. So Jake Maloney off the pole position, Damon Mulqueen on the inside of the first row. This will be a rolling start, Paul. So they're going to have a full head of steam running down into turn number 1. Are they going to be able to make it all through there cleanly? Time is yet to tell. So we're about to find out. But Damon Mulqueen, Matthew Brunt, a good qualifying, so as was Damon Mulqueen. Brandon Grotch, he's shown a lot of pace in the first 2 rounds, and no surprise to see him up in P number 4 here in the qualifying session for race number 1. Of course, Sam Katakuzanos coming off a solid win in the IndyCar Series on Monday night in the TCRs. No surprise to see him there in P5. Probably, if we'll talk to him right now, he probably didn't expect to be there in the 5th position, but he's there in 5th, and he's going to have Andy Barber beside him as well. So Andy Barber and Sam Katakuzanos done a lot of laps together in a race situation, and no surprise to see those 2 drivers side by side here for race number 1 tonight. So we're going to have Scott Hasler out of 7, Phelan out of 8, Darren McKenzie out of 9. Look out for Darren McKenzie tonight in the 02 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry. He will make his way forward. He does not like sitting mid-pack, so he'll be wanting to make his way forward. But Peter Pavlovich, Mark Howard, David Leslie, Jai Schultz, and the likes are going to have something to say about that one as we are about to go green here for race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR series. So I tell you what, we had last night, we had a new sponsor for the Molecule Australia Pro Car TCR E-Championship, and I had to get my head around that last night, and then tonight we just have it again, and I've got to learn everything again. So we spend 10 weeks getting used to something, and then they just throw us under the bus. So, but that just goes to show how good we are here on the IndySim Esports Network. We're ready to adapt, we're ready to go, and we're ready to bring you all the action of every league that we do broadcast. But Paul, who's your pick tonight? We're about to go green. Can you go past Jake Maloney with the pace that he's shown through practice and qualifying?
Definitely not. Yeah, I think Jake, obviously, he's going to run away with this one. Damon Mulqueen will definitely put up a fight. So we should see a good battle there at the start. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Race 2, reverse grid. We've seen Jai Schultz do quite well off a reverse grid race and run away with it and get a win from a reverse grid race. So looking forward to race 2 anyway, I think.
Yeah, definitely are, and we can see them just making their way up across the back end of the section as you see them make their way there in the foreground of your picture, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Barney waiting on the flag post, ready to send us green here for race number 1, round number 3, the Skypoynt TCR. series here from Barber Motorsports Park. Jake Maloney leading us to the green from pole position rather. Damon Mulqueen on the outside of that front row. Barney's ready to send us green. He's got his flag in the air. Go Barney, and we're green here for race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR series as they make their way into turn number 1. Jake Maloney's got that job done through turn number 1. Matthew Brunt, Damon Mulqueen, Brendan Grotch and Sam Katakuznos just trying to find their feet there in the background. Looks like that Matthew Brunt's trying to make the job, get the job done on Damon Mulqueen there. But as we see in these TCR cars, draft is key. And they nearly went 3 wide down into the downhill braking section here at Barber Motorsports Park. It is Jake Maloney though. He's off into the distance. He's liking what he's seeing in his rear vision mirror at the moment. He's going, come on boys, you keep battling. I'm just going to drive off into the distance. But Matthew Brunt, after starting out of P number 3, he's now got up into P number 2. Brendan Grotch up into P number 3. Damon Mulqueen's been the big loser on the start here, Paul. Starting off the front row, he's dropped back into the 4th position early on, lap number 1 of 12 in this one.
Early days yet, Aiden, so not even 1 lap in, so everyone just finding their rhythm, finding their groove and settling in, and I'm sure we'll see Damon Mulqueen make his way back up into P2.
Yeah, 100%, as we're seeing Damon Mulqueen there, just having a little bit of a look on the inside of Brendan Grotch there. He couldn't quite get the job done. These cars are front-wheel drive. They're very steering dependent on the throttle. So Damon Mulqueen, though, getting a good run on Brendan Grotch down into turn number 1 here for the second time tonight for race number 1 at Barber Motorsports Park. Sammy Katakuznos mowing the grass there in the background, just using a little bit more than what he had to, so that would have given him a 1X. So Sam Katakuznos, though, he hasn't lost a position, he hasn't gained one. He's still sitting there in the 5th position. He's got Andy Barber trying to chase him down as well. So Sam Katakuznos and Andy Barber, there you got the Tiona Holidays Park Southern Stars Esports Racing backed of Andy Barber there, just in behind this battle. They'll be loving what they're seeing in front between Matthew Brunt, Brendan Grotch and Damon Mulqueen. They'll be sitting there going, okay, guys, you keep battling, and we'll see you in a couple of laps, because no doubt, always there's a car in the background. That looks like that's Graham Phelan there in the background, just using all the track. But nice, solid driving here from the guys early here for race number 1. We are now navigating our way through lap number 2 of 12. It is Jake Maloney. He's off into the distance, ladies and gentlemen. Forget about him for the moment. He is gone. But the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th is definitely heating up in this one, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. And as we expected, Jake's just gapped the field there off that start. It's only 2 laps in, and he's already got a 3-second lead there. So we're just going to see that lead grow out, and I reckon by the end of this race we'll probably have a 10 to 15 second lead over second.
Yeah, at the current lap pace that he's showing, his last lap was a 131.0 to a 132.1 to Matthew Brunt, so he's just pulled another 2 seconds out at the front of this motor race. So he's in an absolute class of his own at the moment. So yeah, I think we're going to see Jake Maloney run away with this one. But it's definitely a good battle here for the minors between 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Andy Barber's now got the job done. You can see in the background there on Sam Katakuznos. So Andy Barber's now moved up into the 5th position. Just looking behind this battle as well, Paul, if we can, up into the 8th position, Darren McKenzie. He's up 2 positions from his starting position. So the 02 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry is making his way up into the grid. I said he wasn't going to be happy sitting there. He's made a couple of decisive moves early, and he's up into the 8th position. Tommy Pritchard too, though. He's up 3 positions out of 13th. He's up into the 10th position. Jai Schultz up 2 spots as well. He started out of P14, and we're on board with Jai Schultz there from Schultz the Autosport. So Jai Schultz with a solid start there after probably being buried in the pack a little bit more so than he wanted to be here for race number 1, Paul.
Yeah, but not too bad anyway. Like you're still 2 spots up there, and sort of sitting in the middle of the pack there. So come next race, if you're still sitting there, you're still going to be in the mid pack there. So you might think that maybe starting in the middle pack for race 2 might give you a little bit of an advantage with that reverse grid. You might be able to make a few more passes in the early stages on the back runners there who find their way to the front from the reverse grid, and might be able to just hold off the fast guys a little bit as well as they get stuck through traffic.
Yeah, most definitely. And David Leslie at the moment, he's going to be starting off pole if it remains status quo. He's going to be starting off pole for the reverse grid and the feature race tonight. So you can see David Leslie there, Dragon RC backed. Not the best qualifying for him. Not the best he qualified in P number 11, so he must have had a little bit of an incident. Troy Mortensen's the car just in front of him up the road at the moment as we're on board with Adam Ariel from Ariel Autosport there. Out of Dalby in Queensland, he's currently in the 17th position, so a big shout out to Adam Ariel tonight from Dalby in Queensland. I'm sure he's looking forward to Dalby Racing Team on Saturday night for the Rising Stars series, but good to see Adam out here in the TCR League for Skypoint for round number 3, doing a nice solid job there in 17th position, Paul.
Good to see Adam actually back on track, because last week he wanted to go for a run in the Corvette, but that's actually the pace car.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't run the pace car in the race, so yeah, not ideal for Adam selecting the wrong car when he went into the session. So that was night done for Adam. But on board now with Matthew Brunt. He's still got Brendan Grotch right over the back of him and Damon Mulqueen. So this is a good little battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th on the racetrack at the moment. They've extended their legs. They've got nearly a 3-second gap, or they do have a 3-second gap over Andy Barber in the 5th position, but they're having a little battle between themselves as well, Sam Katakouzenos and Scott Hasler. But Brendan Grotch now has completely dropped out. So he might have had a little bit of a issue with the internet, and we've now gone black as well. So I think everyone's having issues with the internet at the moment, because, yeah, we've just seen Brendan Grotch completely drop out. And now our live pictures have completely dropped out on us, which is really weird. So we'll work feverishly in the background and try and bring those pictures up for you when we can, and go back to the race. So keep us entertained here, ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in on the InterSim Esports Network. Well, we try and work feverishly to bring these pictures back to you. Let us know that you're tuning in. Good evening to you, Emma, Scott, everyone tuning in. Jai Schultz as well, definitely can do a discount for you. Aiden, not sure what he meant with that. That must have been through the qualifying session. So we will see how we go. So we're working feverishly at the moment. We're not sure whether we're going to be able to get these pictures back at the moment. I don't know where they've gone, but we might actually, while we're working feverishly to get these pictures back, we might just, we've got them back. They're coming up by the looks of it. You can see Paul doing his thing in the background. Live timing's up, so that means we're about to go live again. And bang, we are live. So, Paul, I tell you what, you're earning your money tonight, mate.
Yeah, not too sure what's going on here, but we'll get through these technical difficulties and try and bring as much racing action as we can to everyone.
Well, I think we're not the only ones with problems, as Brendan Grotch. I think he dropped out of the server with some connection issues. But this is a spicy little battle. Sam Katakouzenos now has made the move up into P number 4. He got the job done on Andy Barber. That allowed Scott Hasler to come back into this battle as well, and Scott's got the job done to move up into the 5th position now in the motor race after starting out of P number 8. So Scott Hasler's going to have his eyes forward and try and chase down the 968 Bushfink Racing entry of Sam Katakouzenos, but Sam's not going to let him have that lightly at all. Sam Katakouzenos is a great driver. He knows if Scott Hasler does get there, though, it will be a great race and a fair race. But Damon Mulqueen and Matthew Brunt in the 2nd and 3rd position in the race at the moment, just up the road from this little battle as we stay on board with Scott Hasler.
I've got to reload my timing thing because my thing.
and Sam
Timing towers fucked
Katakouznos.
up.
But just up the road about 7 seconds. Paul just said that he's got to reload this on the stream, so that's really good there. That's the first time we've done that in a while. But that's all right. We're reloading, and we will get the live timing back up. But Scott Hasler is really racing hard here. He's really quick. Last time around 132.89 as opposed to Sam's 132.65. But Scott Hasler showing a lot of speed here. Lap 7 to 12 of race number 1, and he's moving right up onto the back of Sam Katakouznos and going to battle for the 4th place in this motor race. Second and third are 5 seconds up the road. They're having a good little battle, but back to Peter Pavlovich at the moment. So Peter Pavlovich, he has Nathan Cook in this battle as well. So that's Peter Pavlovich trying to get the job done on Nathan Cook. This is the battle for 10 and 11. And we've got Josh Schultz just in front as well. So these drivers made a few little gains here for race number 1. Josh Schultz up 5, Nathan Cook up 5, and Peter Pavlovich up 1. Let's jump on board with Peter Pavlovich at the moment, who's in behind Nathan Cook. Let's give Peter a bit of love, and let's go on board for a lap around Barber Motorsports Park with Peter Pavlovich. So there's a lap, ladies and gentlemen, on board Peter Pavlovich. We saw Nathan Cook just go off into the foreground there. It looks like he had a connection issue as well. So we're having connection issues trying to bring the stream to you, ladies and gentlemen. But at the same time, some of the drivers are having issues as well. So there could be a bit of an iRacing issue at the moment. I'm not sure. But this is the battle for the 2nd position. It's Matthew Brunt and Damon Mulqueen. So Matthew Brunt leading the battle at the moment. It's 11 seconds down the road of Jake Maloney in only a 1.5 second lap. So Jake Maloney is gone. But Matthew Brunt and Damon Mulqueen, they're going to fight it out with only 4 laps to go, or 3.5 laps to go here for race number 1. Who's going to get the 2nd place? Who's going to get the 3rd place? Also, while we're on board with Peter Pavlovich earlier before, or just a lap ago, Sam Katakouznos had a little bit of an issue, so Scott Hasler and Andy Barber got past him as well for the 4th and 5th position. So Sam Katakouznos has now gone down into the 6th position. But Damon Mulqueen and Matthew Brunt and Damon Mulqueen, this is the battle of where it's at, Paul. It's definitely going to heat up. With that 10 into 12, we've got the leader, Jake Maloney's just gone lap 10 into 12. So as we see Matthew Brunt and Damon Mulqueen make their way across the start-finish line this time around, there'll be 3 laps to go here for race number 1 of the Skypoynt TCR series for round number 3, and it's a battle and a ding-dong battle between Matthew Brunt and Damon Mulqueen for the final 2 places on the podium here, Paul.
Yeah, definitely, and teammates there as well, so they're going to be racing each other hard, and looks like Damon Mulqueen going for a big sand up the inside there and getting the job done nicely, but the switchback coming from Matthew Brunt, and he's going to make that move back.
He will, and Damon Mulqueen will be on the right side of the road, but he just couldn't get the drive off the corner. So he's just going to have to sacrifice his position at the moment as they make their way through the right-hand turn here and down into the tricky change of direction downhill braking section. So Matthew Brunt has got the job back done on Damon Malqueen, but that just goes to show Damon's not happy to sit back there in the third place at the moment, Paul. At his first opportunity, he's going to have a dive. So with 2.5 laps to go, don't be surprised if we see the 42 of Damon Malqueen have another lunge up the inside of Matthew Brunt in second place at the moment. The Synergy Sim Racing JK Signs back number 134 of Matthew Brunt. Don't worry about Jake Maloney down the road, and we're sorry, Jake. At the moment, we know you're doing a great job. You've got a 14-second lead over the rest of the field, but this is the battle for the minors. If you are tuning in here on the Sim Esports Network, as they do take 2 to go this time around for race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League. Who will it be? Who will take second and who will take third here for race number 1? Will it be Matthew Brunt? Will it be Damon Malqueen? We're about to find out in the next 3 minutes here around Barber Motorsports Park as Damon Malqueen ranges right up onto the back of Matthew Brunt, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. And this little battle is going to come down to the last lap, and we'll see if Damon can make that move again. He didn't want to go for the dive there, so he's happy just to sit in there and probably bide his time to that last lap, and then he'll make that move.
No doubt he will, but then you say that, he's showing the nose into the braking section there. Nowhere to go there for Damon Malqueen. I thought that was going to sacrifice a little bit there, getting a little bit of the aero wash behind the rear wing. He was able to hold on to that. So he's got about a lap and a half to go to be able to get the job done on Matthew Brunt in second place. He's going to have a dive somewhere. Where will it be? Is it going to be here as he gets a big run behind Matthew Brunt? No, he's going to sit there and just wait. So he's definitely biding his time and trying to pick the right moment, because if he gets the job done at the right time, it's going to be really hard for Matthew Brunt to try and get that job done back on Damon Malqueen. But I tell you what, Damon's got to get it done and get it done cleanly, and Matthew Brunt in the 134 Synergy Sim Racing JK Signs entry is making his car as wide as possible as Barney waves the white flag, rather, as I just got to pull my teeth out of my mouth. And we go white flag here for race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League, and this is the battle. We're not going to get off this battle because I know you're all enjoying it, and we've just the track cams have decided to do their thing. But Damon Malqueen, is he going to have a lunge down here? He's going to be on the wrong side of the road into this braking section as Matthew Brunt covers off on Damon Malqueen there. So Matthew Brunt making his car as wide as possible. He's still doing everything he can to keep Damon Malqueen at bay. So Matthew Brunt doing a great job here as they make their way down through this section, the big downhill twisty braking section. You'll see Damon Malqueen range up onto the back of Matthew Brunt through the mid of that corner. He's just a little bit too far back at the moment to have anything and to do anything for Matthew Brunt at the moment. But we're back to the leader as we're about to go. Checkered flag here for race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League. And it will be Jake Maloney in emphatic fashion will take the race win here for race number 1, round number 3. And he's won everything he's come out in this season for season number 2. Who's going to get the job done between Matthew Brunt and Damon Malqueen? They make their way through the final corner, and Damon Malqueen getting a big run down onto the main straight. They're going to go side by side as they go across the line, and it's Matthew Brunt just holding on from Damon Malqueen to take second and third in this motor race. We'll wait a further 9 seconds, and it's going to be Gotti Hasler in the 4th, Andy Barber and Sam Katakuznos and Darren McKenzie. What a good battle there for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, Paul, as they came across the line, pretty much line astern as all the drivers try and finish their race off. And we'll go through the finishing orders here for race number 1, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League. So, mate, good race there. I tell you what, Jake Maloney drove off into the distance. It's what we expected, but good race for the minors in that one.
Yeah, definitely. And as I predicted, about a 10 to 15 second, and Jake just had to go straight to the extreme with the 15-second gap there. So good job there from Jake Maloney to take P1 in race 1, but that's going to see him starting on the back for race 2. And yeah, good little battle there from Matthew Brunt, Damon Mulqueen for P2 and 3, and also those provisional spots thereafter. Scotty Hassler, Andy Barber, Sammy Kay and Darren McKenzie as well.
100%, but let's go through your finishing order here for race number 1 for what will be reverse grid. I'm not sure whether we're going to get time to do that before they bring the cars up onto the grid, or whether they're doing a reverse warm-up session. But here are the results of race number 1. So you're going to see this for the reverse of race number 2. You've got Maloney, Brunt, Mulqueen, Hasler, Barber, Kataguznos, McKenzie, Pritchard, Schultz and Pavlovich, your 10 for race number 1. Ariel with a good drive in race number 1. Howard, De Vries, Cook, Leslie, Mortensen, Filland and Keller, your 18 for race number 1. 19th and 20th, as it just goes away, ended up, no, that was all that finished the race. So we're going to go reverse grid here. We might have a warm-up session. I'm not sure, Paul, as the drivers aren't gridding at the moment. So we've got a 10-minute warm-up session by the looks of it. So what we might do, we might go on board with Jai Schultz if he comes out of pit lane, and no one's coming out of pits yet for the warm-up session. So just bear with us here on the Indosim Esports Network. Well, what we'll try and do, we'll try and bring someone up into the broadcast booth and have a chat with them. Looking at who's in here at the moment, let's bring up Mr. Adam Ariel. We haven't spoken to Adam Ariel. Let's bring him up into the broadcast booth and have a chat with him. Adam Ariel, mate, Aidan Schultz and Paul Jackson in the broadcast booth, mate. You're just going into a warm-up session now. Have you got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you on Discord.
Mate, unfortunate last week. You can't drive the safety car in a race, mate. So unfortunate last week, but come out for round number 3 here tonight at Barber and come home with a nice solid P11 there for race number 1. You've got to be happy with that one.
Yeah, I was happy with that. I started in P18, so it's working my way up.
I bet you're happy that you actually got the race tonight. I know you were devastated last week, accidentally selecting the wrong car, and we know that once you do that, you can't actually race. So good to see you back out here again for round number 3. TCR, have you done a lot of driving in the TCR league or TCRs in general? And what's your experience in the TCR?
No, mostly just the oval stuff with you guys on the Saturday nights, but the TCR is a good little beginner's car for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, you call it a beginner's car, but every time I jump in it, I end up in the wall. So I'm not sure it's a beginner's car. You're probably understating it a little bit. It doesn't have a lot of horsepower, but they're definitely a tricky car to drive, especially around Barber Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I find they're really tricky under brakes, eh?
Yeah, they are. They are very loose in the back end, very light in the back end. Of course, you're looking forward to the Australian Stock Car Championship coming up in the next week and a half, which we'll see you out there on board with that. Of course, part of Dolby Racing Team, based out of Dolby in Queensland. You'll be doing a few laps possibly on Saturday night in the Dolby Racing Team Rising Stars series, I'd suggest. We've seen you also with your son doing a little bit of endurance racing as well. So how's that looking at your end, mate?
Yeah, look, I'd love to get back into the Dolby series on Saturday night. Unfortunately, it's been conflicting with some other races, but it's definitely a good series.
Well, Paul, I know you've done a lot of laps with Adam, so have a chat with Adam before we let him go and launch the 55 here in the 24 actually in this race, but launch the 24 here into the main race for round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League.
Yeah, we turned quite a few left turn laps last season in Weekend Warriors, and you're paired up there with Dylan Davies. You going to be running that again this season?
Yeah, we've got the same pairing again, and second pairing this season.
That should be a good pairing there. You guys were sort of up there in the team championships as well, and sort of given us a little bit of a run for our money. But it should be a good season for you guys this year, and all the best.
Thanks, mate. We're hoping to be at the pointy end with you this year, so looking forward to it.
Well, mate, you got the better Schultz doing a full series this year, so I might have something to say about that one as well, just quietly.
Yeah, well, we're not contesting the team championship this year, so it's up for grabs for anyone there.
Well, anyway, Adam, we wish you all the best. We look forward to you doing really well in the Australian Stock Car Championship this year. But let's just eyes forward to tonight's race. You'll be starting around about mid-pack for the reverse grid coming up very, very shortly. We hope to see the number 24 Dolby Racing Team Ariel Autosports entry up there, hopefully in a podium position for the feature race tonight.
It'd be good to slip your way through, wouldn't it?
It would be, mate. Hopefully we see you up there, but we'll put you down into the chat that you're in, and we wish you all the best here for the feature race.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. Have a good night.
No worries at all, but there you go, Paul. A little bit of a chat there with Adam Ariel. Good to be able to have a chat with drivers before, well, they're about to go out and do their little bit of a warm-up session. So we're 5 minutes 35 into the warm-up session. Might put in a bit of music maybe, Paul, while they're watching this. I don't know what you want to do. I'm just going to walk away for a couple of minutes, go and catch my breath, catch my voice, because I'm about to bring you, or we're about to bring you 27 laps of absolute amazing driving here around Barber Motorsports Park for round number 3, race number 2, and it is the feature race for the Skypoynt TCR series. So strap yourself into your armchairs at home, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away. Get yourself your favourite drink, because we are about to go live in 4 minutes' time for the feature race here for round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR series. So my name's Aidan Schultz, and Paul Jackson will be bringing you all the action in the next couple of minutes here live for race number 2. All right, so I've walked away, Paul. I've got myself a little bit of a beverage ready to bring you race number 2. I hope you've done the same thing. I hope your KFC's not playing up on you that I know that you had before we went live, just to throw you under the bus. So I hope you throw me under the bus all the time, so it's about time I did it. How's the KFC going down, mate? Did you have enough nuggets? Did you have enough tenders? And did you have enough chips to be able to do the cameras and broadcast here? That's the most essential thing we need the viewers to know. Did Paul Jackson get the kick out of his KFC tonight? That is the most important question.
Well, I'm feeling pretty full, and yeah, might not fit into the race suit or even behind me sim steering wheel soon, I think. But
well, you usually struggle on a normal day, so now you've had KFC. I tell you what,
well, that's because I've got to work every day, but you know.
Well, yeah, you do, but I tell you what, it beats my salad. So I'll take your KFC, and you can have your KFC and raise me a salad, or the other way around. I'm not quite sure, but we've got about a minute and a half left in this warm-up session before we bring you the final race here for round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League. So are we going to see much of the same? Jake Maloney, he will be off the back of the grid as we see a reverse grid here for race number 2 tonight. But Jake Maloney on his raw race pace, or raw car pace, as we're on board with the Schultz Autosports entry of Jai Schultz, the organiser of the lead at the moment, just trying to get a couple of laps in anger here in the warm-up session. Jake Maloney, we've seen him do it before. We've seen him do it on a couple of occasions, come from the back in a 30-35 car field. He's only got 19 cars to navigate around this time. Are we going to see Jake Maloney come through the field and go back to back? I'm sure we're going to have the likes of Matthew Brunt and Damon Mulqueen. They'll have something to say about this in race number 2 for what is a longer race, and we'll have a compulsory pit stop.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that pit stop, and that can change up things, but hopefully not too dramatically for everyone. But, can play a little factor there, you know, making sure you don't miss your pit bay and get the car stopped in time and don't speed in pit lane and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, 100%, and that's what's going to play a big factor. We've said earlier in the previous broadcast we've done for round number 2 and round number 1 of the now renamed Skypoynt TCR League, the pit stops played a massive factor in who won that race. We've seen Jake Maloney win a couple and drive his way through the field, but in saying that too, the strategy is what did it. There was a couple of drivers, if they got their strategy just that 1 or 2 laps a little bit different, it could have been a different ball game at the front of the motor race. So that's going to be the story of race number 2 tonight. Who's going to get that one done? Because we've got the pit stop and it is a reverse grid. So track position, not going as quick as you can, and a pit stop. But we bring up the starting position for race number 2. It's going to be Corey Brand and Brendan Grotch off the front row with Peter Kelleher and Graham Phelan. Don't look at race control and Sebastian Vundell. We've got Mortensen, Leslie, Cook and De Vries, Howard and Ariel out of the 9th and 10th, as much as they look as 11 and 12 at the moment. We'll quickly roll over because we're about to go green if SDK will allow us to do that. And it's going to be Pavlovich, Schultz, Pritchard, McKenzie, Catacuznos, Barber, Hasler, Mulqueen, Brunt and Jake Maloney off the back of the grid here for this reverse grid race number 2. We're going to have a rolling start once again here. So it's going to be a different cattle of fish down into turn number 1 this time, Paul. Brendan Grotch might drive off into the distance early on in this one. He was in the top 5 for race number 1. He had a little bit of a connection issue and you saw him make his way down the escape road, but he's going to find himself off the front row here for race number 2 alongside Corey Brand. Look out for Peter Kelleher and Graham Phelan. Also look out for Troy Mortensen. He's going to want to consolidate a nice result tonight, starting out of the 5th position as well. Then we go down to De Vries, Adam Ariel, who we spoke to in the interval there in the warm-up session. He's going to want to have a nice solid race here for the longer 27-lap race. And then we start getting down to the drivers that were inside the top 8 or 9 for race number 1. They're the likes of Jai Schultz, Tom Pritchard, Darren McKenzie, Andy Barber, Sam Catacuznos, Scotty Hasler, Damon Mulqueen, Matthew Brunt and Jake Maloney. It's anyone's on who's going to get this, Paul. Absolutely anyone's. We got no idea, especially trying to navigate your way through the field with different lap times, different lap pace, as much as all the drivers do the best they can, and it brings some absolute racing for us to call here on the InterSim Esports Network. But this is going to be an absolute ding-dong battle. Who's going to be able to navigate their way through the slower traffic the quickest? Who's going to be able to execute those passes the cleanest? Who's going to be able to make their way through pit lane the quickest? Who's going to miss their pit stall? Who's going to decide to pit too early and run out of tyres later? Who's going to pit too late and not have enough time to utilise those tyres? So many things to play out here for race number 2 here, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League, and we are just about to find out in the next 45 minutes who is going to get the job done. So they're in behind the pace car, only a couple of corners to go, and we will be going green. I'm looking forward to see Jake Maloney make his way through the field here, Paul. Who is your bet here to take race number 2, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how Brendan Grotch goes if he doesn't have any connection issues and gets a good run here at the front. Looking forward to seeing how long he can hold off the likes of Jake.
Yeah, 100%, because Matthew Brunt and Mulqueen are going to be in front of Jake off the start. David Leslie, he has been quick tonight. He didn't get the start he wanted for race number 1, so there are a KFC entry there of, actually that's Brendan Grotch, is it? No, Corey Brand. He's been good, but look out for David Leslie as well. He's been quick tonight as well. Didn't have the start he wanted for race number 1. He was inside the top 10 after qualifying, so he's in a good position to be able to consolidate here and get a good result. But we're about to go green, and they've gone green early, so that's very interesting. Don't know whether race control has something to say about that one, but Corey Brand, he jumps early and takes the green flag here for race number 2 for the Skypoynt TCR League, and he's going to lead the field through turns number 1 and 2 for lap number 1 here tonight. So it's Corey Brand, Brendan Grotch, Phelan, Kelleher, Leslie and Mortensen in your top 6 as they make their way across the mid-sector of the circuit here for the first time tonight. But Brendan Grotch, he's going to be quick. We saw him quick in race number 1. He's going to want to get the job done on Corey Brand early in this one as well. But have a look at the drivers in the background. You can see Jake Maloney there making a little bit of a move. Matthew Brunt hasn't made the best start as well. But Brendan Grotch, he's trying to make the move around the outside of Leslie. They're going to go too wide into the downhill section. What good driving by the drivers there. And Brendan Grotch gets the job done down in the change of direction downhill section. So that is something that definitely could have ended a lot different than that did there. But Brendan Grotch now has got the lead of the motor race. Jake Maloney has made quite a few spots up. He's up into 16th spot. He's up 6 spots. Matthew Brunt hasn't made the positions he would have wanted to early in this one. He's only up 1 spot. He's in 20th. But it is a story of Brendan Grotch at the moment leading the way here for race number 2. And he will go through the final corner tonight and lead the first lap of what we'll see him do 29 laps around the circuit tonight here at Barber Motorsports Park. And Corey Brand decides to do a bit of lawn mowing there on the exit of turn number 2. So that's going to allow Graham Phelan, Damon Mulqueen in the wall out of turn number, or the final turn rather. So Damon Mulqueen, after top 3 for race number 1, that is race over for the 134 of Damon Mulqueen. So we'll go back to your replay and show you what happened to Damon there on the exit of the final turn here at Barber Motorsports Park. He's in behind Tom Pritchard there from Andy Barber, sorry, from Southern Stars, and he's just caught the grass and the curb, and that's just spat the car to the inside wall, and that is all she wrote. He's shortened up his TCR car, and he's pretty much going to be out of this one, I'd strongly suggest, Paul. As we can see, he is definitely dropping back on the drivers behind. Yeah, his engine has decided, I want no more, and that is the end of Damon Mulqueen here for race number 2. Your podium place getter for race number 1, so that's definitely going to mix it up a bit. But we're seeing Brendan Grotch. He's now 2 seconds down the road from Graham Phelan, Corey Brand, David Leslie, Ashley DeFries. So can Brendan Grotch try and capitalise on a reverse grid on race number 1, where he was going to battle for a top 5? And or we see David Leslie in the fence as well, so he's going to make his way down the grid. He's already towed, so he didn't even request a tow. He just went out, so not sure whether he'll get the disqualification for that one. But David Leslie in pit lane after towing. But live timing is completely stuffing up, so we'll just wait for that. But I can see that Brendan Grotch is still leading the way. You can see your leaderboard there on the left-hand side, absolutely having a heart attack. So interesting to see Damon Mulqueen leading the way, because he is actually not leading the way at the moment, as Damon Mulqueen, as we saw earlier, put his car into the wall. So Brendan Grotch on the screen at the moment is leading the way over Graham Phelan there in the 2nd position. He shows 3rd on your screen, but he's actually 2nd place, and that's Corey Brand in the red car behind him, trying to chase down Graham for the 2nd place, Paul. But live timing having a little bit of a heart attack at the moment, so we're trying to bring you all the action as best as we can. As it looks like that Graham has just had a little bit of an off-track down through the downhill braking section, the change of direction here. That's going to allow Corey Brand to range up onto the back of him in the KFC entry. Corey Brand starting off the front row here for race number 2. On board now with Jake Maloney. So Jake Maloney, race number 1 winner, started out of P number 22 here for race number 2, and he's up 11 spots. So he's already passed half the field, and he's making his way up here in race number 2. We're only 3 laps into 29, and you can see there that Jake Maloney already up 11 spots, and he's currently lapping around a second a lap quicker than the rest of the field, as my internet decides to absolutely freeze. But on board now with the 8th positioner, Scotty Hasler. That was probably it, mate. The live timing was fixing up in my background, and it decided that my internet needed to have a heart attack. But Scotty Hasler in the 7th position. He's got Darren McKenzie just up in front of him as well. So Darren McKenzie, he's up 10 spots. He started out of 16th position in this race, is what it told me. And he's already up 10 spots. So Darren McKenzie, the best of the Southern Stars Esports racing entries early in this race, with how much he is made up in the field. Andy Barber, he's had an incident. He's back in 15th. So Andy Barber, I don't know what's happened there. So, and we've gone under caution. So, yeah, we don't have caution under. Yeah, that is really weird. I don't know why we don't have caution up, but we're under caution. So apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We are so sorry for bringing the broadcast like this, because we can only see what you can see, and it did not bring yellow flags up on your screen. So no idea why it did. But Sebastian Vandel is driving the pace car at the moment, and live timing is going to play up as well. So let's just let the drivers roll around. It's going to be Brendan Grotch that'll bring us the green, and we'll just let you enjoy the pace car for the next couple of laps, and we'll bring you all the action here for round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League very, very shortly, as we set up the live timing in the background once again. So we might actually, Paul's just said in my ear, I might actually bring up Sebastian Vandel into the broadcast booth. Real quickly, Seb, we've got you in the broadcast booth. I know you need to be in race control. I'm sure we've got another lap until we go green. Aidan and Paul up here in the broadcast booth. That threw us a little bit under the bus. Not sure what brought out the caution there. Can you enlighten the viewers on what brought out the caution and what put you in behind the safety car here for the first time tonight?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it was David requesting a tow. So I think that triggered a safety car.
Okay, that makes sense. So in the league, they do have rules that if you do request a tow, that will bring out a safety car. But Seb, you're not going green this time around, are you? We're going to go another lap under the safety car?
Sure am.
No worries at all. But mate, you would have been watching the race tonight. I tell you what, I bet you'd much rather be in a TCR than as much as you'd love being in the car you're in at the moment, being the pace car, because that's an absolutely weapon of a car. But you'd much rather be in a TCR racing tonight. But from a race control perspective and the safety car driver tonight, or pace car driver, you would have liked the racing in race number 1. But I tell you what, Mr. Jake Maloney, he is a class above lately, and he's untouched.
Yeah, he's got some crazy pace out there today. Like, I don't know, first 2-3 laps in the heat race, like I think he had 4 seconds on the pack. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine tonight.
Well, mate, hopefully we can see you have a run here for the newly crowned or newly named Skypoynt TCR League. Hopefully we can see you out from behind the safety car and have a run at some stage, mate. But we thank you for your time and just clearing that up here on the InterSim Esports Network. We'll let you jump down with young Ryan Barber in race control at the moment, as I'm sure we're going green this time around.
Yep, sure am. All right, thank you.
And we just had to cut him off because he was getting excited, because we know that he likes doing a little bit of a burnout. But we are about to go green here again. Our first safety car intervention for round number 3, and it was David Leslie requesting the tow there on the inside of the track. So we saw that. He escaped really, really quickly. I didn't think he did request a tow, and I said that in my live commentary, but he must have done so, and that's what's brought out the caution. But it's going to be Brendan Grotch bringing us to the green over Graham Phelan. But this is going to help Jake Maloney, who's now up inside the top 10. Brendan Grotch wouldn't have wanted this safety car. Jake Maloney will be licking his lips there, back in 9th position, who's sitting just behind Adam Ariel, Scott Hasler and Darren McKenzie.
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate time, as Brendan Grotch had a good jump on the start there. So definitely going to help, but it's always good to see the drivers bunch up and see some more racing happening.
Yeah, definitely, it will be. So the pace car is into pit lane, and now that everything is slowing down on me again, so I'm not sure if that's your internet, Paul, or mine, but everything is slowing down. But we can see Brendan Grotch is, yeah, don't know. It's the iRacing gods tonight. The iRacing gods tonight are just absolutely having a amazing time, so that is great. But it will be Brendan Grotch off the pole position here for the restart. He'll bring us to the green over Graham Phelan, Corey Brand, Jai Schultz and Nathan Cook in the 4th position. Jai Schultz in the 4th position and Nathan Cook. So Brendan Grotch has already gone green. He's trying to catch him napping, and he's gone green. We're going to see Barney wave the green flag, and Barney's been lazy and he hasn't waved the green flag as we've gone green. once again here for round number 3 in the feature race, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League. Brendan Grotch getting a great jump there. He's already extended his legs out to a second over the rest of the field, as we see the rest of the field just make their way through turns number 1 and 2. So Brendan Grotch on your screen at the moment. He's got now about a second over Graham Phelan in second. We've got a move. Jai Schultz making a move up into P3. So Schultz, the Autosport, Jai Schultz, the lesser Schultz, making the move up into P number 3. It's a little bit weird calling the lesser Schultz in P number 3 at the moment, because he really should be the better Schultz if he's in that position. But he's doing a great job, Jai Schultz, and an absolute gentleman he is. He's up into P number 3. There's the commentator's curse right there, Paul. Jai Schultz does a little bit of drifty action, and so has Graham Phelan. He's gone sideways as well, so I couldn't have timed that any better. There is a commentator's curse 101. I'm sure we have a little commentator fairy up in the IndySim heaven that every time I talk about a driver, they turn around as we go back to the instant replay. So you can see Jai Schultz just carrying a lot more curb there across the change of direction, and that was definitely going to happen the whole time. But Leslie, the driver in front of Phelan, he'd already done that as well. So good driving by all drivers to try and navigate their way through that little incident, and it's all green flag status quo at the front, and Brendan Grotch is now 4 seconds the better of Jai Schultz, who's coming back for another go over Corey Brand. So Jai Schultz just a lap ago, we saw him almost facing in the wrong direction, and he's now made his way back up into P number 2. But have a look at this battle. Corey Brand, Scott Hasler, Nathan Cook, but have a look who's in the background. Jake Maloney and Darren McKenzie as they go too wide across the top of the hill there into the braking section here. Who's going to get the job done? Jake Maloney's going to think very wisely here. He knows he's got the pace. He just needs to sit here and wait to be able to make his move. But how good is this racing? Darren McKenzie, don't write off him as well in the 7th position. He'll be here ready to pounce whenever something happens in front of him. And that could happen between Scotty Hasler and Nathan Cook as they make their way into the corner that time around. So you can see how much that Jake Maloney there is backing up the car in front of Darren McKenzie, and look at the drive he's got off the corner. So Jake Maloney just really tiptoeing around at the moment. He's got a lot more pace than what he's showing as Nathan Cook absolutely launches over the curbs there, and Scott Hasler as well. So I tell you what, I'm not sure whether these drivers, as there's big sends, how are these cars absolutely staying on track? Oh my God. Jake Maloney's just looking there going, I'm just waiting for these guys to take each other out, as Jake Maloney makes a big move down into the right-hand corner that time around. It's going to put him on the wrong side of the road. He's going to look for the switchback here onto the main straight, and he's going to get that job done, I'd suggest, as they make their way down the main straight again for the 8th time tonight. Darren McKenzie still in behind Jake Maloney, but Nathan Cook really squeezing Jake Maloney there into turn number 1. That's going to allow Darren McKenzie to capitalise on that as well. So Nathan Cook goes, I don't care how fast you are, Jake Maloney, and how good you are. You're going to have to work for this. And Jake Maloney did a great job to be able to try and pull out of that one and not actually get into an incident. But Darren McKenzie's now doing the same, saying, Jake Maloney, mate, you're not getting your own way. I'm going to cover off into the hairpin. So Darren McKenzie's now going to pull up onto the back of Nathan Cook. How good's this for racing as Jake Maloney gets the run onto the right side of the road into the next braking section over Darren McKenzie. So Jake Maloney looks like he's going to get the job done on Darren through here, down into the tricky reverse change of direction, downhill braking section. You can see the rear rotors there absolutely lighting up on Jake Maloney's car. But Paul, how good racing is this for about 7th, 8th, or 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th in this motor race? We're not forgetting Brendan Grotch, which is a further 6 seconds up the road in the lead of this motor race. But how good is that racing? And it could have come unstuck, but good driving by all drivers involved.
Yeah, definitely some good racing there, and good to see everyone making Jake work for those spots to get through the field. It's almost going 3 wide in the corner there, but while this is unfolding, it's only helping Brendan at the front there just sail away off into the sunset. He's got a nice little gap over Jai Schultz there, almost 6 seconds. So yeah, good to see. He's got a bit of a lead there, so he's going to make Jake work hard. He's almost 8 seconds down the road, so Jake's got a little bit of work to do to catch up in the 21 laps.
Yeah, and we'll have look, we'll just keep you next time around. We'll just keep you informed on the lap times. We can't take any notice of Jake Maloney's lap times last time around. He's just moved up into P4 because he was battling Scott Hasler. Now has made a move up into P2 over Jai Schultz as well. Jai Schultz not going to let him have it his own way down into the braking section this time. So Jai Schultz is going to be on the right side of the road to try and get the job done back on Scotty Hasler. Scotty tries to send it around the outside speedway, and how good a driving was that by Scott to be able to hold on to that position. I tell you what, Paul, I haven't seen that done before. That was absolutely great driving there by Scotty Hasler. But Jai Schultz in third. You can see Jake Maloney in fourth. So Brendan Grotch, he's now 7 seconds. He's now 7 seconds up the road of this motor race. But now we've had Jake Maloney with a lap pretty much without anyone in front of him. He's the second and a half behind Jai Schultz, as we see on the screen at the moment as he's catching him. Let's see what the times are here for the top four and see how this race is playing out. We've only got 1/3 race distance, so it's still a long way to go. Still another pit stop to be able to do yet, so we'll see. So 1:32.12 by Brendan Grotch last time across the line. We have had, I'm waiting for my live timing to catch up, 1:32.59 by Scott Hasler. Jai Schultz at 1:33.49 and Jake Maloney 1:31.85. So Brendan Grotch just pulled out another 0.6 of a second over Jake Maloney, who had pretty much clear track that time around. So Brendan Grotch showing a lot of pace here in race number 2. And he's now extended that gap out to 7 seconds. And no sooner do I talk, it is extending quicker and quicker out at the front. So we'll see what happens this time around. We've got Scott Hasler and Jai Schultz, Jake Maloney battling for the 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So they're going to keep battling, and that's not going to help their lap times. But Jake Maloney, as we're 10 into 29, or as Scotty Hasler decides to do a bit of lawn mowing there through the downhill chicanes, Jake Maloney's not going to have it his own way in this one, even if he does pass the likes of Jai Schultz and Scott Hasler, which I'd strongly suggest is going to happen in the coming laps. He is going to have a big effort needed to try and chase down Brendan Grotch, who's now extended the lead to 8 seconds. As you can see how hard Jake Maloney's trying to try and pass Scott Hasler, and he gets the job done there. So as Jake Maloney is getting up and further up in the field, it's harder and harder to pass for Jake Maloney. And this is just all biting good there for the leader of Brendan Grotch at the moment. But Jai Schultz in 2nd place. We go lap 11 of 29. Let's go on board with the 29 of Jake Maloney as he chases down the 27 of the Schultzy Autosports entry of Jai Schultz. Jump on board with Jake Maloney. Enjoy the TCR car around Barber Motorsports Park. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen, a lap on board with Jake Maloney as he gets the job done in the final corner there on Jai Schultz. Jai Schultz going to be on the wrong side of the road down into turn number 1, well, on the right side of the road, but not quite close enough to be able to get the job done. So Jake Maloney now, the elastic band has been snapped, and now he is right to look forward and try and chase down the 22 of Brendan Grotch, who is 8 seconds down the road as we're 12 laps into 29. Matthew Brunt there, he's made his way up into 8th position. So Matthew Brunt has had a little bit of a tough race here for race number 2. He hasn't been able to make his way through the field as quick as the likes of Jake Maloney has. Darren McKenzie still sitting in 5th. Nathan Cook in 6th position. big shout out to Nathan Cook in race number 2. He started out at 18th and he's up into the 6th position. So Nathan Cook with a nice solid drive here for race number 2. But does Jake Maloney have anything for Brendan Grotch? He has another 16 laps to try and catch the 22 of Brendan Grotch. And I'm looking at the live timing at the moment. It's slowly coming down. So now that elastic band is broken for the battle for the minors. Jake Maloney is now ready and he's going to set his sights on the leader of the motor race. But Sam Catacuznos we're on board with at the moment. He's down in the 12th position. So Sammy K, after being in the top 4 of race number 1, he's got an eyeful of Ashley DeVries, Adam Ariel and Peter Pavlovich up the front. So Sam Catacuznos showed a lot of pace in race number 1. He's really struggling to make those passes and get the job done here in race number 2 as he's sort of just sat back there in that 12th position, and Tom Pritchard in the 13th position is ranging up on the back of him as well. And don't write off Andy Barber just in the background. He was in the top 5 for race number 1. Not the best start that by his own admittance for race number 2. We're not sure what happened, but he's got a long way back to be able to make his way through the field. So he got a lot of points there for race number 1. Can he make some moves and try and move that 05 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry up further in this race? Jai Schultz there just getting passed by Scotty Hasler now as well. So Scott Hasler moving up into the 3rd position over Jai Schultz. And this has allowed Darren McKenzie to range up onto the back of this battle as well. So Jai Schultz maybe gone a little bit too hard too early and he's struggling with those tyres as we're seeing the drivers behind him just slowly peg that gap back. So Darren McKenzie's going to want to have a move on Jai Schultz sooner rather than later, as Jake Maloney, he's going off into the distance in 2nd place. He's got that gap now down to 6.6 seconds on Brendan Grotch. There's still a long way to go for Jake Maloney, but I'm sure we'll see him up trying to fight for the lead of this motor race. Scotty Hasler in 2nd, McKenzie, Schultz, Cook, Howard, Brunt, Pavlovich and Ariel Yudz as we're on board with Darren McKenzie that's just got the job done on Jai Schultz. So Jai Schultz now hemorrhaging positions, moving back into the 5th position after in 2nd place. And he goes, enough's enough, I'm going into pit lane. Lap number 14 of 29. He split it in half and he goes, that's enough, is enough. I've done my tyres, I'm going in. So this is going to help Jai Schultz on the undercut of the likes of Darren McKenzie and Scott Hasler, even Nathan Cook and Mark Howard around him. But as we saw then in that period of the race, it's not going to help him in the back end. But in saying that, he had a couple of incidents where he was speedway style, so his tyres wouldn't have liked that at all. But Brendan Grotch still in the lead of the motor race. We just saw him there. He's got 6 seconds on Jake Maloney, on board with Mark Howard at the moment. He's in the 6th spot. He started out of P number 12. So Mark Howard is just chasing down Nathan Cook at the moment. He's got Matthew Brunt just in behind him as well. So this is the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th on the racetrack at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. So Paul, I tell you what, it always never cease. We're only 14 into 29. Strategy is going to play a big part in these second races, 25% fuel. Jai Schultz, Troy Mortensen, Peter Kelleher have been the first people to jump. Well, sorry, Troy Mortensen and Peter Kelleher already laps down, but Jai Schultz and Corey Brand are the first drivers to jump into pit lane and try and do the undercut. They might, will this work for them? Will they get track position? Are they going to be able to hold on late in this one from what we've seen previous for race number, round number 1 and round number 2? It's really hard to do so. We're going to see Jake Maloney go as long as he can here in this little period of the race, because we see him come home really strong, really fast, late with fresh tyres. We saw a driver just go off into the grass. But we've got Matthew Brunt and Peter Pavlovich now in pit lane as well, as is Ashley DeVries and Graham Fillon. So now the pit stops are starting to come thick and far. Who's going to try and cover off on that? Sam Catacuznos. He's going to run wide into turn number 1. It looked like he was going to. No, he kept that. So he's up into 7th position. So now we're on board with Adam Ariel. So Adam Ariel, he hasn't gone through pit lane yet, so he just got bullied a little bit by the 3 or 4 drivers in front, and he's now sitting back in the 10th position. So that's Andy Barber, Tom Pritchard and Sam Catacuznos, you can see just in front of Adam Ariel there in the Ariel Autosports, or Ariel Auto Art rather, entry of Adam Ariel. But Jai Schultz here, Paul, is the first car that's gone through pit lane. He come through pit lane on lap 13. Matthew Brunt's now going to jump him because Matthew Brunt was actually stationary through pit lane about 2 seconds less than Jai Schultz. So Matthew Brunt's going to jump Jai Schultz, and this is where the undercut's going to happen. So you need to keep one eye on. These are the drivers you need to keep an eye on, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Hasler in third, Darren McKenzie in fourth, and Mark Howard in fifth. And we see Mark Howard and Nathan Cook now coming into pit lane. So has the undercut worked for the likes of Jai Schultz and Matthew Brunt? Are they going to be able to jump over the top of Mark Howard, Nathan Cook? Darren McKenzie's going to be one you need to watch out for as well, because he's gone a little bit longer in this stint. The likes of Brendan Grotch and Jake Maloney a little bit too far up the road at the moment. They're going to get green tyres, and don't be surprised if we see them in the podium tonight. But for the minor positions here tonight, it is definitely heating up, and this is where strategy is definitely playing a big part. So Matthew Brunt still in front of Jai Schultz as they make their way down pit straight for the 16th time tonight at 29 of asking. So these two drivers have come through pit lane. So we can see now that Nathan Cook is in pit lane as well. He's going to lose the position, you can see there as well. So the only other driver that's been through pit lane, Tom Pritchard, it says 0, so he's going to have to come through again. Jake Maloney's now dropped the gap down to 2.5 seconds. So in the last 5 laps, Jake Maloney's taken 6 seconds out of Brendan Grotch at the lead of this motor race. Last time around, Brendan Grotch 133.09 as opposed to Jake Maloney 131.63. So the gap is definitely dropping down. Brendan Grotch is now gone. It's time to come in. Brendan Grotch is in pit lane. So he goes, it's time to come in. I can see the gap coming down, and Jake Maloney's going again. So here we go. This is going to be interesting. Brendan Grotch, Scott Hasler's in as well. So is Darren McKenzie. Sam Katakuzanos, will we see him come in as well? So it's definitely going to spice things up here. Sam Katakuzanos has stayed out as well. So Jake Maloney, Sam Katakuzanos, and Andy Barber, the only 3 drivers to stay out on track. We'll see how this plays out as they make their way across the start-finish line. That's going to make your top 3 of Jake Maloney, Sam Katakuzanos, Tom Pritchard in 4th. He came through pit lane on lap 0, so he's still out there at the moment, Andy Barber. But Brendan Grotch is out of pit lane, so we're on board with Matthew Brunt at the moment, as he's still got Jai Schultz all over the back of him. So about to find out, Paul, the strategy's playing out. I know I'm getting excited. I'm looking, the live timing is going absolutely crazy. Brendan Grotch there in 5th position. He will take the lead of this motor race when all the pit stops are done. How much is he going to get on Jake Maloney as we're 17 into 29, and will he have enough of a gap to be able to hold on to take his maiden win here for the Skypoynt TCR League, Paul?
Well, he is currently the leader in the AM series, so he's doing a pretty good job, and it just shows why he's the leader in the AM series. But he's definitely making Andy Barber work for those points tonight, that's for sure.
He definitely is, and Andy Barber at the moment, if we have a look where he is on the racetrack, he's in the 4th position. He hasn't come through pit lane at the moment. We see Jake Maloney now in pit lane. I can see it in my live timing. So Jake Maloney at the lead of the motor races in pit lane. Sam Kay and Andy Barber in pit lane. So where's this going to put Brendan Grotch when he comes out? It's going to give Tom Pritchard the lead of the motor race, but he's going to have to come through pit lane once again as it decides that my internet wants to slow up, but that's okay, it'll catch up very quickly. But where's this going to put Brendan Grotch? That's going to be the interesting part. But I'll just do something. I know we've gone live, and Brendan Grotch going down the main straight. So he's going to jump him into turn number 1 this time around. Don't worry about Tom Pritchard. That's no respect to Tom Pritchard. He's going to have to go down pit lane once again to get to the end. But Brendan Grotch now, he's got an... Oh, and now Jake Maloney has come out in the middle of lapped traffic. So this isn't going to help Jake Maloney at all. So Jake Maloney in behind some lap cars. He's going to have 9 laps of hell to try and make up. Well, they're not lap cars, they're 4 positions. Sorry, mate. I'm just trying to catch up because my stream is completely freezing on me. But Jake Maloney is coming out in the pack. I'm not sure what's happened there with, oh, that's right, because Matthew Brunt and Jai Schultz and Scotty Hasler, they pitted earlier. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that was a really bad call from me. So I have to have a look at that. But
the undercut worked quite well there, Aiden. So Matthew Brunt up into P3. Jai Schultz just dropping off off the pack there a little bit. So hasn't sort of helped him. And one Anton Pritchard's coming into pit lane this time around as well.
Yeah, he's in the pit lane. We knew he'd have to do that any lap, and he's decided to do that this time around. So that's going to bury him deep in the pack here in the motor race. But Matthew Brunt in P number 3, Jake Maloney in 4. So this will be second and third. We're on board with Brendan Grotch when he goes, and we go back to Jake Maloney again. Jake Maloney and Matthew Brunt there in second and third. So they'll get second and third as they go across the motor race, go across the start-finish line this time around. And Brendan Grotch now has 7.4 seconds in the lead of this one. But we did see earlier on, Paul, in that first green flag run, we've got now 10 laps to go here for the feature race, round number 3. But we saw how quick that gap came down at the front between Brendan Grotch and Jake Maloney. But the difference is this time is Jake Maloney has Matthew Brunt in front of him, and that's not going to last that long as we see Jake Maloney trying to get the job done on Matthew Brunt up into P number 2, and it looks like he's going to get that job done. He's going to be on the wrong side of the road here into this braking section, but he's too far in front. So there's the position for P number 2. So now it is all in the sights of Jake Maloney looking forward and Brendan Grotch. So sorry, I just got things in my ears, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm trying to catch up on everything I'm looking. But pit times, stationary pit times or transit times, 14.13 for Brendan Grotch, 24.13 of Jake Maloney. So that's interesting that Jake is 24 seconds through pit lane, whether he had damage. Everyone else is around about the 10 to 13. So Jake Maloney's gone tyres by the looks of that one. So Jake Maloney's gone tyres, and we're going to see the lap times completely drop, and we're going to see the gap between Brendan Grotch and Jake Maloney completely drop at the front of this one. So not sure how that's playing out, but let's go on board with the driver. I'm struggling to keep up with this, with strategies and everything and what's going on, because yeah, I'm not sure that I'm just struggling to go with how that is that. But anyway, we'll keep going back to the motor race. But Jai Schultz there in the 5th place, and let's go on board with Jai Schultz from Schultzy Racing or Schultzy Autosport, and do a lap or two around Barber Motorsports Park as we try and catch our breath and get ready to bring you what will be the final 9 laps or 8 laps here for round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League here from Barber Motorsports Park. But ladies and gentlemen, a couple of laps around on board with the 27th Schultz Autosport entry of Jai Schultz and Darren McKenzie. Well, we're on board, getting the job done on him as well for the 5th position. But we go back to the lead of the motor race, and when we're on board, this gap has dropped dramatically, and Jake Maloney has gone from 2.5 seconds to now being right up onto the back of Brendan Grotch. So you don't need to look at your live timing, ladies and gentlemen. You can see it right in your screen there, how close Jake Maloney is in behind Brendan Grotch. So Jake Maloney last time around took 2 seconds out of Brendan Grotch. So Jake Maloney, he's going to look like he's going to take the win of this motor race so he can get the job done. He's going to drive off into the distance. It's been a strategy call again from Jake Maloney. It's been the story of his season so far for the first 2 rounds, and we're about to see the same thing again here for round number 3. But Jake Maloney just backing off a little bit there, allowing Brendan to stay in front. So looks like Jake's not trying too hard. He's just having a little bit of a fun race with Brendan and just want to get the job done cleanly when he can. And he'll probably take the number 29 home into the winning position tonight, Paul. But I tell you what, I don't know what Jake Maloney's done in the last couple of weeks in the TCR cars, but he has just been a class above the rest of the field.
Yeah, definitely. And sorry,
No,
just a little bit slow on the unmute button there. I was thinking, and I'm like, I'll just unmute myself here. I'll jump back in. But looks like David Leslie there coming out of pit lane as well, coming to turn a few more laps. So might have got that car fixed up from when he hit the wall.
Yeah, definitely. And there's something, and this is the battle for the lead of the motor race, and we'll keep watching that. Dave Leslie, he's had a night to forget, Dave Leslie, but it's the pleasure of iRacing. You can come back next week and have another run, but the lead of the motor race at the moment, this is the battle, and it looks like that Jake Maloney's going to get the job done over Brendan Grotch now into turn number 3. So that's a change for the lead of the motor race, 23 into 29. There's a little battle I need to keep one eye on as well, as Jake Maloney just locks a brake there into that downhill braking section. That's how easy it is. Darren McKenzie's now made the move on Scott Hasler up into P number 4. He's now got 2.8 seconds down the road to Matthew Brunt. So Darren McKenzie at this stage could be on for a podium. There goes Matthew Brunt through his screen, and there goes Darren McKenzie. There goes Scotty Hasler and Jai Schultz. So in behind there, Sam Katakousanos, as we were about to see that as we change the cameras. But Darren McKenzie, he is making his way up the field at the moment. He's 2.7 seconds down the road from Matthew Brunt. Does he have enough to be able to make his way up into the podium here for race number 2, round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR E-Series? Not sure whether he's quick enough at the moment, but time will tell, as that's Matthew Brunt there making his way down the main straight for the 24th time tonight, down into turn number 1. That gap is now extending out to 3 seconds. So last time around, Matthew Brunt 132.87 as opposed to Darren McKenzie a 133.10. So Matthew Brunt just extending his legs on the 4th position of Darren McKenzie just that little bit last time around. And he's a little bit too far behind Brendan Grotch at the moment. It's about 2 seconds. Here's Jai Schultz on board at the moment. That's Scott Hasler, you can see just in front of him as they make their way down into the hairpin this time around. This is the battle for 5th and 6th. So Jai Schultz, will he have anything for Scott Hasler in the closing stages of this one? Just 5 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen, as Jai Schultz is going to try and get the job done on Scott Hasler. He puts it up the inside there and they make contact, and that's not going to be favourable by the stewards, but Jai Schultz is off into the grass anyway. So Scott Hasler, no harm, no foul. He keeps going, and it looks like Jai Schultz has got his own penalty there. So contact there, Paul, but Jai was not going to die wondering on that little exchange, and it didn't work out in his favour.
Definitely not. And looked like it was possible that he could have pulled that one off, but yeah, maybe a little bit late on the break after he had a bit of a big sand, and he just had an off track there again. So probably hasn't helped those tyres as well, and yeah, that we'll probably see Scotty run off with that one now.
Yeah, no doubt we possibly will. He's got 2.5 seconds up the road of Jai Schultz. There's 4 seconds now, so Jai Schultz is going to have to keep one eye on Sam Katakousanos, but we're back on board with your leader. We go lap 25 or 29, and that is none other than Jake Maloney. We've caught him at the front all night, and it's been the story of Jake Maloney. It's been the story of Jake Maloney all season. We're only in race round number 3, but he has led everything. Mr. Toby Rebecki, or Tony, is it Tony Rebecki or Toby? Tony Rebecki. There he is, Tony Rebecki there. Jake Maloney, you'll like that. Tony Rebecki from Neighbours. How much does he look like it there on your screens? But I tell you what, he's doing a great job. He's now extended the lead out to 5.3 seconds over Brendan Grotch. Matthew Brunt in third, Darren McKenzie, your fourth position. That gap between Darren and Matthew's sort of stagnating there at around the 2.5 seconds. He's dragging it in just ever so slightly. So we'll see over the coming laps whether Darren McKenzie can pull that gap in. He's now pulled another tenth and a half out of it. So that's interesting. That's David Leslie in front of Darren McKenzie, who is not in the fight for the race at the moment. He's just, he's probably helping Darren pull up onto the back of Matthew Brunt with the draft at the moment. On board now with Mark Howard. He's in behind Tommy Pritchard, one hand Tom Pritchard out of Sydney, New South Wales. The Tom Pritchard from Southern Stars Esports Racing up in the 10th position at the moment here for race number 2. He's down 2 positions. He started out of P7 here for race number 2, but doing a good job there on the Skypoint backed Southern Stars Esports Racing entry. But he's got another 3 laps to navigate, and he's going to have Mark Howard trying to make the move on him for 9th position in the motor race. So this is the battle for the back end of the top 10, Paul. So we're now 26 into 29. Only 4 laps to go. We've got Jake Maloney going off into the distance. Brendan Grotch has pretty much got second tied up, bar anything going wrong. Matthew Brunt in third, Darren McKenzie there. He's trying to range up on Matthew Brunt. That's a battle we need to keep an eye out on. But this battle for 9th and 10th on the racetrack, as you see them there, that's going to be one to keep an eye out for too. But Darren McKenzie there in the 4th position. He's now only got 2.1 seconds to Matthew Brunt there in the 3rd position. So if Darren can put down 3 of his quickest laps that he's done all night tonight, he will be able to bridge this gap on Matthew Brunt. Last time around, he pulled 0.3 of a second on Matthew Brunt. So we'll see what happens this time around with their race pace or their lap pace. So the 02 Skypoint backed Mish's XL Garage Southern Stars Esports Racing entry of Darren McKenzie. Matthew Brunt just in front of him. We'll see what the times were. So your leaders were a 1:31.2 for Jake Maloney, a 1:33.2 for Brendan Grotch, a 1:33.3, sorry, 1:32.9 from Matthew Brunt. And we'll wait for Darren McKenzie to come across. He was a 1:32.8, so another 1/10.5 of a second taken out of Matthew Brunt by Darren McKenzie in the 4th position here, Paul. So we're now 27 into 29, only 3 laps to go. I think he needs to take out a little bit more than a 1/10.5 a second to be able to range up onto the back of Matthew Brunt. But Darren McKenzie looks like he might have a bit of an issue in the background as well, because that gap is just going out a little bit now. So it looked like it was going to heat up a little bit, but very racy here for the final step on the podium, Paul.
There we go. Just lost my unmute button, but yeah, definitely that gap was closing just down to that 2 seconds gap, and extended back out again half a second. Yeah, it definitely looks like there's a bit of some strengths and weaknesses around Barber Motorsport here between the 2 drivers. So looks like Darren's got a few of these corners. He can navigate quite well as he's closing that gap once again on Matthew Brunt. So we'll see if he can get that back under that 2 second mark and try and catch up there.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too late, but time will tell. We've just gone 28 of 29, and Jake Maloney taking the second to last lap. Now, Brendan Grotch there in second, but also Matthew Brunt really catching Brandon there in the 2nd place as well. So we'll see whether he's got, last time around, Matthew Brunt actually took a full second out of Brendan Grotch last time around. So the battle for second might not be over yet, ladies and gentlemen, between Brendan Grotch. Sammy Katakuznos has had an issue as well, but second taken out of Brendan Grotch by Matthew Brunt last time around. So the battle for second might not be over yet, ladies and gentlemen. The 1st place battle is pretty much all said and done, and that is Jake Maloney bar something going drastically wrong, but time will tell. But here's Matthew Brunt. He's now got it down to under 2 seconds, Paul. So he's really ranging up onto the back of Brendan Grotch. Brendan really needs to stop looking in his rear vision mirror. If he is at the moment, I don't know, I'm just a commentator, but this is the time where he just needs to put his eyes forward. He's got the gap that he needs over Matthew Brunt. I'm not sure Matthew's going to be able to get the job done or even get in a position to make a move. The more he looks in his rear vision mirror, the more that Matthew is going to range up onto the back of him, and the harder task it's going to look for the 22 entry there of Brendan Grotch. So it's now down to 1.9, 1.8, 1.7, 1.6 seconds. So it's coming down really quickly, but we're going white flag. Jake Maloney's already taken the white flag. This is a battle for second place. Does Matthew Brunt have anything and any race pace here to be able to fight for second? I don't think he does. He's a little bit too far back. Bar anything going wrong with Brendan at the moment, that's going to be second and third. You can see Darren McKenzie making his way through there in fourth position. But what a drive by Brendan Grotch tonight. Started off the front row here for race number 2. Led majority of this second race. He's been outclassed by Jake Maloney, which is no mean feat. Jake Maloney, a sensational driver, but he's done a great job to try and, on what was not the best race number 1 from his standards, with the little disconnection issue that happened, to be able to try and get a good result here for race number 2 after starting off the front for the reverse grid ball.
Yeah, definitely, and that gap's still closing down to 1.2 now, so got a few more corners to navigate yet, and down to 1 second now. So Matthew Brunt has got that gas pedal to the floor, and he is absolutely charging, trying to chase down Brendan Grotch for that second spot on the podium.
He is. He's only got a couple of more opportunities to get that job done as they make their way through the back end of this course. It's now down to under 1 second. It's down to 8 tenths, 9 tenths. But no, you can see Jake Maloney now. He's going to take the win here for round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League. But who's going to get second place? It's about 9 tenths of a second. It looks like that Brendan Grotch is just going to have enough to hold on to that one, and he's going to have enough to get the job done for P number 2 tonight. So 22 of Brendan Grotch will come home in P number 2. Matthew Brunt in P number 3. Darren McKenzie, Southern Stars Esports Racing in P number 4. Good drive by Darren tonight. Started out of P4 in this race, come home P4. Scotty Hasler in P5. You'll see Andy Barber with a nice recovery drive come home in P number 6. One hand Tom Pritchard home in P7. What a drive by Tom. Mark Howard, Graham Phelan, J8 and 9. And Jai Schultz is going to hold on for what was a really tough second race there for Jai to just get a top 10 pull.
Yeah, definitely. And he would have been pushing that car quite hard to try and stay up towards the front, and probably pushed that a bit too hard too early, as we said, and worn off those tyres. So good to see he still come home in the top 10, but probably want to be a little bit higher up in the leaderboard there for that race.
No doubt he would have, but let's go through your final place getters here for round number 3 of the... Oh, it hasn't come up yet either. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but not sure whether they're going to be able to bring you the podium, guys, because some people aren't up here in the Discord. We'll just see, but we'll bring up your results here for round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League, and it is Jake Maloney who comes away with another emphatic win over Brendan Grotch, and we had Matthew Brunt coming home in P3, Darren McKenzie in P4, and Scotty Hasler in P number 5 tonight. Andy Barber home in P number 6 with Tom Pritchard in P number 7 with the Southern Stars Esports Racing 4, 6 and 7 tonight. Mark Howard in 8th with Graham Phelan in 9th, and Jai Schultz from Schultz Autosport in P number 10. Peter Pavlovich in P11, Sam Katakuznos in 12th, Ashley DeVries in 13th, Brand in 14th, Nathan Cook in 15th, Adam Ariel 16th, David Leslie in 17th, and Troy Mortensen home in 18th tonight. Peter Kelleher in 19th, Sebastian Vandel was in the pace car tonight. Damon Mulqueen, after that incident early on in the feature race tonight, did not get any points in the feature race, so that's not going to be beneficial for Damon Mulqueen. But round number 3 of the now Skypoynt TCR series, definitely a smaller field than we're used to, even though there was 20 cars, but it did not disappoint on quality in the battles tonight, but we saw Jake Maloney just absolutely a class above the field tonight, Paul.
Yeah, definitely, and we're starting to get accustomed to that as well, Aiden, week in, week out. So hopefully we can see next week a bit more of a battle there, and the likes of Damon Mulqueen and that, and Josh Schultz even, having a good run with Jake next week.
Yeah, 100%. We can see Damon Mulqueen back down there in the TCR series podium at the moment. Damon Mulqueen with not the race he would have wanted. Not sure whether we're going to get the top 3 place getters up. We might have to bring Damon up and have a little bit of a chat, but we'll do that now. Damon Mulqueen, mate, Aidan Schultz and Paul Jackson in the booth, albeit we're not talking to you from a podium position. Mate, top 3 in race number 1. It was a night of Jake Maloney at the front, just absolutely blitzing the field. But, mate, not the way you wanted race number 2 to go.
Yeah, race 1 was a bit more ideal, but unfortunately race 2 didn't quite go the way you ultimately wanted it to. Race 1 just messed up the start in the first lap or so and got out fast and out-positioned into corners and just sort of sat with it, and then had a really good battle with Brunty towards the end, just for a bit of fun. Hopefully you guys caught some of that, because we did, well, not some silly stuff, but some interesting stuff.
We definitely did, mate. We caught that. Go back and watch the broadcast.
I will then. But yeah, then a lap or so after the restart and the feature race there, just stuck a wheel off and around she went straight into the wall. Not the ideal way to go into a new round with a new main sponsor on the car for myself. But, you know, we'll come back next week and give it another crack.
That's all you can do, mate, and unfortunate tonight to have that happen in race number 2 after getting a podium in race number 3. But we do have all the top 3 drivers, and I don't mean to jump across to them, Damon, because it's all about them tonight. We spoke to you last week after round number 2, but we've got to jump straight across to P number 3 tonight. The 134 entry of Matthew Brunt. Mate, what a great drive to get a P number 3 tonight. I tell you what, Darren McKenzie, he was hunting you down. He was trying to get you. You held him off, mate, in the last couple of laps. I know it was a couple of seconds down, but I'm sure you would have had one eye in the rear vision mirror.
Yeah, it was. The podium was a little unexpected in that second race, but I was on a bit of a fuel save, and I was watching my relative, and Darren was coming, and I ran out of fuel going over the line, actually, so it was close.
Well, it was a good drive nonetheless, though, mate. P number 3, you come out of P15 here for the reverse grid race number 2, and we saw early on Jake Maloney, he got up through the field probably to about 11th, and then it was a lot harder for him to make his way up through the field. We saw the likes of, I think it was, I'm not sure who it was, it might have been Damon who had the incident. He struggled early to make his way through the field in the reverse grid, and you just sort of slowly pegged your way back, and you drove the right strategy and was able to come away with a P3 tonight.
Yeah, I took it really easy in that reverse grid race, knowing that I was at the back. And then when the safety car came out, I went for the extra little bit of fuel. So I did the extra fuel stop, and I think that sort of helped me jump a fair few people on the pit stops when everybody else came in, which helped.
Well, you came through pit lane on lap 14. We saw the undercut was a really big thing tonight. We saw that you did jump Jake Maloney. Josh Schultz, that helped him as well. It didn't help him in the latter part of the race. He must have used his tyres. He struggled in the first stint and he was dropping back and then went for the early undercut, and it did help him with track position. But overall, it looked like tyres did play a big part tonight.
Yeah, when I seen Jake twice tonight, and then seen his tail lights disappear. That's he's too quick. But no, it was good racing.
Well, mate, P number 3 tonight in the 134 entry, Matthew Brunt, the Synergy Sim Racing JK Signs entry. Big shout out to all the sponsors and everyone for your P3 tonight. Yeah,
obviously the guys at Synergy, Wave Runner Performance Centre, Dr. Epoxy, and the rest of the sponsors on the car as well, but and mainly the team and Damo for turning up tonight. He was unlucky, but we'll do it again. Well, a big shout out quickly before we let you go. You did mention a new sponsor on the car. No, that wasn't you, sorry. That was someone else. My apologies. Oh, that was Damon. I haven't got the new livery yet, but he'd be talking about the Wave Runner Performance. It's one of the new main sponsors on the side of the car.
We'll give a big shout out to Wave Runner Performance while you're on board, because Damon didn't have the opportunity to do so. So a big shout out to Wave Runner.
Wave Runner Performance Centre, yeah, up in Queensland, Jet Ski Performance Centre. So thank you to those guys.
No worries at all. So your third place getter tonight, the 134 of Matthew Brunt. That brings us across to your second place getter tonight, Brandon Grotch. Brandon started out of P number 2. You come home in P number 2 for the feature race tonight. Not race number 1 that you would have wanted. Might have been a couple of technical issues there, but it definitely put you off the front row for race number 2 tonight. And you made every post a winner. You're always going to look in the rear vision mirror of Jake Maloney, who was chasing you down the whole time, but you got to be happy with P number 2.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Obviously, would have been nicer in race 1, but internet cut out. What can you do about it? So, but yeah, as you said, it set me up nicely for race 2. From the start of the race, I had Jake in my mind the whole time. I was just waiting for him to pop up on my relative, and yeah, he eventually did. So he didn't last long there. He got by very quickly.
He did, and the thing is, mate, when we're looking, you go back and look at the broadcast, you had 8.5 seconds on second place when Jake Maloney was in 11th. So Jake Maloney is an absolute freak in these cars. He's won pretty much everything here for the first 3 rounds. He loves a reverse grid. I tell you what, though, he was not going to get it easily, because when he got into the top 5, they were driving really hard and he had to work really hard to get the job done. But as I said in the broadcast, once that elastic band stretched and it snapped, he had his eyes forward on you and he was chasing you down really hard.
Yeah, I noticed he was battling quite a lot with the other guys in the top 5, and I feel like the safety car destroyed my chances of keeping a race win, but that's how the race goes. And yeah, I think after the pit stops, I feel like Jake took tyres. I didn't. That really hurt me, but I feel like it was the best strategy call. So
yeah, well, he definitely did. He was stationary for 10 seconds longer, while his pit time was 10 seconds longer than you. So he definitely did take tyres. I did mention on the broadcast that Brandon Grotch would not like the fact that this safety car came out. So you do make a good point. It did not help you in the fact of trying to be able to compete for the win of the motor race, but you still got to be happy with P number 2 tonight. So first time I think we've spoken to you on the podium here for the Skypoynt TCR series. Mate, big shout out to everyone involved for your P2 tonight.
thank you very much. And just before I go, I've noticed my name's a bit hard to pronounce sometimes, so I thought I might help you out with that. It's pronounced Grok, just like Rock, but with a G.
Well, there we go. You're not the first person to point that out in other people's names, so we'll get that right. So Brandon Grok, we'll get that right for round number 4.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
No worries. Big shout out to your sponsors, though, mate, and everyone involved before we let you go. And it looks like Brandon's gone. Are you still there?
I muted my mic.
Sorry, mate. Big shout out to everyone for your P2 tonight, mate.
Yeah, thanks to Z Challenger, Calioth Racing. They've really helped me in the past 2 months. So it was so great to get this P2 with them.
No worries at all, mate. And congratulations once again on your P2 tonight. So P2, the number 22, Brandon Grok, not Grotch. So there we go. We've got that one sorted here in the podium. But we move straight on to Jake Maloney. I tell you what, we always talk about having a chair up here in the Indosim Esports Network broadcast booth, but we usually change the name on the chair, but it is concreted in, mate. Jake Maloney, you are literally getting used to winning the TCR League or TCR series here for now the new rebranded Skypoynt TCR League, mate. Didn't have it your own way there in race number 2, but as we've seen in the previous rounds, you love the reverse grids and you come away with maximum points tonight, and you're just going to extend your championship lead at the top.
Yeah, it was a good round. Yeah, a bit of a challenge in that second race. I think the incident limit was 10 in that second race, and I picked up 5 incidents in the first lap, so I was sort of had to be pretty careful from there on in, not get a drive-through penalty. But yeah, it was a good race tonight, and we've certainly had a good start to the season so far with some of the wins we've been able to pick up.
Well, it wasn't a depth of field that you probably would have liked. 20 cars in tonight, usually used to about 35. Obviously, other leagues now sort of starting up into 2022, which might have taken a couple of drivers away to do other things, but still, nonetheless, you've got to be happy with extending the championship lead. We're probably going to see about 30, 35 cars here for round number 4. This is probably around that, as much as you would have liked to see a lot more drivers, you're probably going to be happy to be able to extend the championship lead to make it easier for you in the back end of the series, when we're going to see a lot more drivers in here and definitely making you work hard for the W's.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good to bank the points for now, and yeah, hopefully we get some strong turnouts further on in the season. It's good to be getting laps in the Hyundai. The Hyundai End Festival coming up that Hyundai's running, so we've got that coming up in a few weeks. So trying to get as many laps as we can in these cars before that comes around, and yeah, just hopefully plenty of good racing as we've seen in some of the first couple of rounds ahead.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that Hyundai League, or that thing that you were just mentioning there. Tell us a little bit about that series and that season, and where people can find that, and what's involved in that, because I haven't heard anything about that. So just let the viewers know a little bit about that, and if they're a Jake Maloney fan and they want to follow you through your iRacing career, tell us a bit about that, mate.
Yeah, I think it's a 5-week series coming up. I think it starts in about March. It's run by Hyundai over in South Korea, and I think there's going to be 2 Australians, myself and Jake Blackhall. And I think there's a championship prize of about $10,000 and a trip overseas. So yeah, hopefully going for that. And I think be the first time I've sort of done one of those sort of series run by one of the big ones, and I think it's going to be on Racespot in the future. But yeah, it's still learning all the details about it.
Awesome stuff. Well, no doubt we'll see the 29er Jake Maloney and Blackhall up there, hopefully in the first couple of positions there for that series. We'll definitely be tuning in and having a look and supporting our fellow Australian iRacers. But Jake Maloney, and again, another win here for the now rebranded Skypoynt TCR League. A big shout out to all those sponsors.
Yeah, just a big thanks to everyone at TTR and VRS. And yeah, to Brock Salmon, I got a sneak peek of our Hyundai livery that's on the way, so we should hopefully have that for next round. And yeah, it's going to look good. And yeah, looking forward to getting out here. And just a big thanks to you guys for the broadcast and everyone who runs the series.
No worries at all, mate. Our absolute pleasure. But your first place getter tonight, the 29er Jake Maloney, he goes back-to-back. He gets another win here for the Skypoynt TCR League, and he's done it in absolutely emphatic fashion. But Paul, no surprise to see Jake Maloney go back-to-back and get another win. He's going to extend his championship lead at the front. We're going to go round number 4 next week. Will Jake Maloney be able to go 3 from 3 next week? What do you think?
Well, he's already gone 3 from 3, I think.
Sorry,
so,
4 from 4.
4 from 4. Yeah. I don't know. Everyone will just have to tune in again next week and see if he can get that job done.
Yeah, 100% they will. But that does round out round number 3 of the Skypoynt TCR League. It was Jake Maloney and Brendan Grotch, your first and second place getters tonight. Matthew Brunt coming home in 4th. A big notable mention to Darren McKenzie in Matthew Brunt in 3rd. A big notable mention to Darren McKenzie in 4th, and Scotty Hasler, who had a great night tonight there in P number 5 for the final race. But we head across. It doesn't stop here on the InterSim Esports Network, Paul. We do not stop. We are going live again on Sunday night, where we will bring you the next round of the Australasian Supercar E-Series. We're going dirt racing, ladies and gentlemen. We're going dirt racing from Knoxville, and we'll go live from 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 8:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you may be. I cannot wait for daylight saving time up here in Queensland to stop. But we'll be going live for the next round of the Australasian Supercar E-Series, of course, brought to you by my private seller. Then next Tuesday night, we will be going live once again for the Molecule Australia Pro Kart TCR E-Series. We're going round number 2 for that. So we'll be going live next Tuesday night from the same time, 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, or 8:15 Australian Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you may be. But then we'll be back straight here next Wednesday night for what will be round number 4 of the Skypoynt TCR E-Series. And we are going to go to, and I haven't even seen the schedule, and we're going to next week, we're going to go to Sonoma to bring you all the action here for round number 4. So make sure you don't miss all the action. Is Jake Maloney going to go 4 from 4? Is someone else going to be able to try and take the mantle and get a first win here for the Skypoynt TCR series? Time will tell, but tune in next week across all our broadcasts, whether it be the Australasian Supercar E-Series on Sunday night, of course, on Tuesday night for the Pro Car TCR E-Series, brought to you by Molecule Australia, or whether you tune in to the Skypoynt TCR E-Series here on a Wednesday night. But from myself, Paul, and everyone at the Intersim Esports Network, your top 3 tonight was Jake Maloney, Brendan Grock, and Matthew Brunt, your P3. From myself, Paul, and everyone at the Intersim Esports Network, we hope you enjoyed all the action, and we'll see you on Sunday night.